The grand hall of the Galactic Council glittered with the light of 1,000 stars. Crystal walls reached up into the darkness, and around a massive circular table sat the representatives of 50 advanced civilizations. Among them, looking small and plain in his simple blue uniform, sat James Walker, Earth's ambassador. "And now," announced the council leader, a tall being with silvery skin, "the Centaurian Empire will present their new defense fleet specifications." Ambassador Drax of the Centaurians rose from his seat. His purple robes sparkled with embedded gems, and his 4 eyes gleamed with pride. A hologram appeared above the table, showing sleek warships that looked like predatory fish made of metal and energy. "Our latest stellar dreadnought," Drax said, his voice smooth and confident, "capable of faster-than-light travel at 300 times light speed, shield strength of 50 million megawatts, armed with quantum torpedoes and plasma cannons." Several council members nodded in appreciation. Walker kept his face neutral, though his hands tightened slightly under the table. "And what of Earth's defense fleet?" Drax turned his 4-eyed gaze to Walker. "Still using those, what do you call them?" "Combustion engines." Laughter rippled through the chamber. Walker smiled politely. "We manage with what we have, Ambassador Drax." "Oh, come now," another alien representative called out. This one had green scales and spoke with a clicking sound. "We've all seen your ships. Metal boxes with rocket boosters, barely faster than light speed." More laughter filled the room. Walker noticed how some of the younger species joined in the loudest, perhaps grateful that for once they weren't the target of mockery. Drax activated another hologram, this one showing a human cargo ship. Its boxy design and visible engine ports looked primitive compared to the sleek Centaurian vessels. "Look at this design. No wonder pirates find human ships such easy targets." Walker cleared his throat. "Speaking of pirates, we've had several attacks on our cargo routes recently. Perhaps the Council could assist in." "Perhaps," Drax interrupted, "if your ships weren't so embarrassingly primitive, pirates wouldn't see them as such easy prey." His upper eyes blinked in amusement while his lower ones stayed fixed on Walker. "Humans have been in space for, 50 years? Come back in a few centuries when you've learned proper shipbuilding." The council leader raised a hand for order as more chuckles echoed through the chamber. "Thank you, Ambassador Drax. Most impressive presentation. Now, moving on to trade route assignments." Walker sat quietly through the rest of the meeting, taking notes on his simple tablet while around him holograms danced and alien technologies were discussed. He noticed how the other species barely looked at him anymore, having dismissed humanity as unworthy of attention. 3 hours later, Walker walked alone down the crystal corridors of the council station. He entered his small office and locked the door. From his pocket, he removed what looked like an ordinary pen. With a twist, it projected a small keyboard onto his desk. Walker typed rapidly. "Priority EMESSAG. Eyes only. Earth command." The air shimmered as quantum encryption activated. Walker spoke softly. "Phase 1 complete. Their arrogance is total. They suspect nothing. Requesting permission to proceed with Phase 2. He waited exactly 47 seconds before a response appeared. "Permission granted. Project Shadow is go. Let them laugh while they can." Walker allowed himself a small smile as he destroyed the message. He thought about the Centaurian ships, so proud and visible in their power. He thought about Ambassador Drax's mocking laughter. Looking out his window at the stars, Walker whispered, "They won't be laughing much longer." He gathered his things and prepared to leave, maintaining his facade of the simple, primitive human. Behind him, the galaxy's most advanced civilizations continued their discussions, never suspecting that their greatest technological achievement had already been surpassed by the species they mocked so freely. Soon, they would learn that humanity's greatest strength lay not in showing their power, but in hiding it. Deep within Neptune's stormy atmosphere, hidden beneath layers of clouds and magnetic interference, Earth's most advanced shipyard floated like a ghost in space. Only 500 people in the entire human race knew of its existence. Even fewer knew what was being built inside. Colonel Thomas Reed stood at the observation deck, his gray eyes fixed on the massive shape taking form before him. Work robots moved silently through the vacuum, their welding lights flickering against dark metal that seemed to swallow light itself. "Status report," he said quietly. His chief engineer, Dr. Anna Miller, looked up from her tablet. "The dark matter cloak is stable, sir. We've managed to reduce power consumption by another 15%. Reed nodded, watching as sections of the ship seemed to fade in and out of existence. The HMS Nightshade was unlike anything humanity had ever built. 300 meters long, yet on most sensors, it registered smaller than a space debris fragment. "Show me the test results," Reed ordered. Miller brought up a hologram showing 3 images. First image, what the Centaurian's best sensors can detect. The image was completely blank. Second, what our standard sensors can detect. A very faint outline appeared. Third, what our advanced quantum sensors can detect. A slightly clearer outline showed, but still barely visible. "And to think," Reed said, "they believe we're still playing with rocket fuel." The project had started 20 years ago, when a human scout ship discovered the wreck of an ancient alien vessel. Inside, they found technology that suggested stealth systems far beyond anything currently known to the Galactic Council. Instead of announcing their find, Earth's leaders made a different choice. "Final system check," called out Lieutenant Jack Foster from his station. "Weapons." "Online," came the response. "Rail guns, plasma torpedoes, and quantum disruptors all green." "Engines?" "Dark matter drive responding. All power systems nominal." "Cloak?" "Operating at 98% efficiency. We're ready." Reed walked closer to the window, his reflection barely visible against the darkness of space. The Nightshade had cost more than Earth's entire public space program, but it would be worth every credit. While the aliens laughed at humanity's primitive ships, this masterpiece had been taking shape in secret. "Dr. Miller," Reed said, "tell me again about the cloak's capabilities." Miller smiled. She loved explaining her life's work. "The dark matter cloak doesn't just hide the ship from sensors. It bends light, gravity, and even space-time around the vessel. We're not just invisible. We're a ghost, a shadow. We can sit right next to a Centaurian dreadnought, and their best sensors would show empty space. And our own capabilities. We can see everything while remaining unseen. Perfect for gathering intelligence on those pirate attacks." Her voice hardened at the last words. Everyone knew the pirates were too well organized to be simple criminals. Reed's communicator beeped. A message from Earth Command appeared. "Ambassador Walker reports Phase 1 complete. Prepare for Phase 2. Time to show them what primitive humans can do," Miller asked. Reed shook his head. "Not yet. First, we watch, we learn, we gather proof. Let them keep believing we're harmless." He turned to his crew. "Prepare for launch sequence. Today, HMS Nightshade begins her real mission." The massive hangar doors opened slowly, revealing Neptune's swirling storms beyond. The Nightshade's engines hummed to life, a sound so quiet it was almost impossible to hear. As the ship moved forward, its dark hull seemed to melt into the blackness of space. Reed took his place in the command chair. Around him, his hand-picked crew worked at their stations with quiet efficiency. They were humanity's best, chosen not just for their skills, but for their ability to keep secrets. "Cloak engaged," Miller reported. "We are invisible to all known detection systems." "Set course for the Centaurian border," Reed ordered. "Let's find out what our advanced friends are really up to." The Nightshade slipped away from Neptune, carrying with it humanity's greatest secret. Soon, the galaxy would learn that underestimating humans was a dangerous mistake. Another human cargo ship disappeared in deep space, the third one this month. On the emergency broadcast screen at Earth Command Center, a desperate message played on repeat. "Mayday. Mayday. This is cargo vessel Liberty 7. We're under attack by unknown ships. Our engines air. Then static. Admiral Robert Hayes slammed his fist on the conference table. Around him, Earth's highest military commanders sat in grim silence. The star map before them showed red dots where ships had vanished. Too many red dots. 12 ships in 2 months, Hayes said. Over 3,000 crew members missing. And the Galactic Council does nothing. The doors opened, and Ambassador Walker strode in. He looked tired, his diplomatic uniform wrinkled from another long council session. "Let me guess," Hayes said. More mockery. Walker nodded. "The Centaurian ambassador suggested we upgrade our ship's engines from steam power to at least basic fusion." The whole chamber laughed. He sat down heavily. "Then they dismissed our complaints about the attacks." Again. On the main screen, images of the missing ships appeared. The Liberty 7, carrying medicine to Earth's outer colonies. The Pacific Trader, loaded with food supplies. The Northern Star, transporting construction materials. All vanished along the same trade routes. "Show me the pattern again," Hayes ordered. A junior officer brought up a new map. The attack points formed a clear line leading toward Centaurian space. But whenever human ships tried to investigate, they found nothing. As if the attackers knew exactly when and where to strike. "Sir," the officer said, "another distress call coming in. The Southern Cross is under attack." The room fell silent as the message played. "Unknown vessels approaching. They're not pirates. These are military-grade ships. There." Static filled the room again. Walker's communicator beeped. "The council is calling an emergency session," he said, reading the message. "Apparently, the Centaurians want to help us protect our ships." "How generous of them," Hayes growled. "Let me guess, they'll offer us protection if we pay them and use their ships instead of ours." "Exactly." Walker's face showed disgust. "They'll present it as assistance to a developing species." A secure communication line buzzed. Hayes pressed a button, and Colonel Reed's face appeared on a private screen. The background behind him was dark, revealing nothing of the Nightshade's interior. "Admiral," Reed reported, "we've been tracking the attack on the Southern Cross. The pirates?" He paused, his face hardening. "They're using Centaurian military frequencies, and their weapon signatures matched the new Dreadnought-class Ambassador Drax showcased last month." Hayes leaned forward. "You're certain?" "Absolutely. We were close enough to see them power up their weapons. The Nightshade's sensors recorded everything." Walker joined the conversation. "Can you prove it?" "Not yet," Reed replied. "We need to track them back to their base, find out where they're taking our ships and crew. The Nightshade is following them now. They have no idea we're here." Hayes nodded slowly. "Maintain surveillance, but do not engage. We need solid proof before we make any accusations." After Reed's image disappeared, Walker turned to Hayes. "I have to return to the council. They're expecting another show of human weakness." "Give them what they expect," Hayes ordered. "Let them think we're helpless. Beg for their help if you have to. The more they underestimate us, the better." As Walker left, Hayes stared at the map of missing ships. Each red dot represented lost lives, stolen cargo, and alien mockery. But soon, very soon, they would have proof of what he already suspected. The galaxy's most advanced civilization was stealing from its weakest members. "Send word to all remaining cargo ships," he commanded. "Tell them to be extra cautious. Play weak. Act scared." A grim smile crossed his face. "Let's give our Centaurian friends enough confidence to make a mistake." In the darkness of space, unseen and unsuspected, the Nightshade followed the attackers, recording everything. The time for patience was almost over. The HMS Nightshade drifted silently through the void, its dark matter cloak making it truly invisible against the starlit background. On the bridge, Colonel Reed watched the main screen as a Centaurian warship poorly disguised as a pirate vessel, moved through space ahead of them. "Distance to target," Reed asked quietly. 5 kilometers and holding," First Officer Maria Cooper replied from her tactical station. "They still have no idea we're here." The bridge was dark, lit only by essential displays. The crew worked in near silence, their movements practiced and precise. They had been following this particular pirate ship for 3 days, ever since it had attacked the Southern Cross. "Show me the captured ship's trajectory," Reed ordered. Cooper brought up a holographic map. A red line showed the path of the stolen human vessel. "They're taking a complex route," she said. "Lots of random jumps. They're trying to hide their trail." "But not from us," Reed smiled slightly. The Nightshade sensors could track ships through light-speed jumps, another technology that humanity had kept secret. Lieutenant Foster's voice came from the sensor station. "Sir, they're preparing for another jump." "Match their course exactly," Cooper commanded. "Stay in their wake. They'll never detect us in their jump signature." The enemy ship stretched and vanished into light speed. The Nightshade followed a split second later, riding the same distortion in spacetime. To any observers, there would have been only one jump signature. When they returned to normal space, they found themselves in a less traveled sector. Ahead, a massive gas giant loomed, its purple clouds swirling with violent storms. "Life signs?" Reed asked. "Detecting multiple ships in orbit around the gas giant's third moon," Foster reported. "And, sir, you need to see this." The main screen showed a hidden base built into the moon's crater. Human cargo ships, dozens of them, were docked at the facility. Around them, Centaurian workers moved supplies from the captured vessels to their own military transports. "Record everything," Reed ordered. "Every ship, every transfer, every worker." Cooper studied the scene with growing anger. "They're not just stealing our ships. They're using our supplies to support their entire fleet." She pointed to several warehouses. "Those are our food shipments, our medical supplies, our raw materials." "And look at their security," Foster added. "Those are official Centaurian military patrols. This isn't some pirate operation. This is state-sponsored theft." Reed opened a secure channel to Earth Command. "Admiral Hayes, are you receiving our feed?" "We see it." Hayes' voice came through clearly. "This is exactly what we needed. But we still need more." "Sir, we need their internal communications, proof that their leadership knows about this operation." "Can you get closer?" Cooper spoke up. "Sir, I have an idea." She moved to the main tactical display. "The Centaurians are so confident in their superiority, they're not even running active scans. We could park the Nightshade right next to their command center. Use our quantum interceptors to capture their communications." Reed considered this. It was bold, perhaps even reckless, but the Centaurians' arrogance made it possible. "Do it," he ordered. "Take us in." Silent running. The Nightshade glided through the enemy patrols like a ghost. Other ships passed within meters of them, their crews completely unaware of the human vessel in their midst. Cooper guided them expertly between the docked ships until they reached the base's central structure. "Beginning quantum intercept," Foster reported. "Their communications are, sir, we're receiving a direct feed from their command center." On the screen, they could see Centaurian officers discussing their operations. Their words were clear. "The humans suspect nothing. Their primitive sensors can't track our ships. We'll have enough supplies to support the fleet's expansion for years. Send everything to Earth Command," Reed ordered. Every word, every image. As they watched and recorded, more stolen human ships arrived. The Centaurians continued their work, never suspecting that their victims were watching from the shadows, gathering evidence of their crimes. Soon, Reed said quietly, looking at the bustling enemy base, "Very soon, you'll learn what humanity is really capable of." The Nightshade's data center hummed with activity as it processed thousands of intercepted Centaurian communications. First Officer Cooper and Lieutenant Foster worked tirelessly, organizing the evidence they had gathered over the past week. "Look at this," Cooper said, pointing to a decoded message. "Direct orders from the Centaurian High Command. They're not just stealing our supplies, they're using them to build a massive invasion fleet." Colonel Reed studied the tactical display showing the secret base. More stolen human ships had arrived, bringing the total to 47 captured vessels. But now, they knew these weren't random attacks. This was part of a much larger plan. "Play that last transmission again," Reed ordered. A hologram appeared, showing a high-ranking Centaurian military officer. His voice was clear. "The humans remain foolishly blind. Their weak sensors and primitive ships make them perfect targets. Once we have stripped their colonies of resources, they will have no choice but to surrender to our protection." Foster brought up another screen. "Sir, I've mapped out their supply chain. They're using our stolen materials to build these." He showed designs for advanced warships. "They're planning to offer protection to all the younger species in the galaxy. For a price, of course." "Colonialism hidden behind a smile," Cooper said bitterly. "And they call us primitive." Reed opened a secure channel to Earth Command. Admiral Hayes' hologram appeared, looking grim but determined. "Colonel, tell me you have everything we need." "More than enough, sir," Reed replied. "Complete records of their operation. Proof of military involvement at the highest levels. Documentation of their larger invasion plans. And," he paused for effect, "we've mapped their entire base. Every defense. Every weak point." Hayes nodded slowly. "The Galactic Council is meeting in 6 hours. The Centaurians are planning another speech about helping primitive species like us." His eyes hardened. "It's time to show them what primitive humans can do." "Sir," Cooper interrupted, "there's more. We've detected signals suggesting they're planning to attack 3 more of our cargo ships today. They're gathering their forces now." Reed looked at his crew, then back at Hayes. "Request permission to prevent these attacks, Admiral. The Nightshade is in perfect position." "Denied," Hayes said firmly. "Not yet. Let them launch their attacks. We want their ships away from their base when we make our move." He checked something off-screen. "Ambassador Walker is preparing for the council meeting. Your new orders are to gather the final evidence we need. Document these attacks, but do not intervene." "Understood, sir," Reed acknowledged, though his jaw tightened at the thought of watching more human ships get attacked. The next few hours were tense. The Nightshade's crew watched as Centaurian warships, disguised as pirates, prepared for their raids. Foster tracked their movements while Cooper recorded everything with the ship's quantum sensors. "They're launching," Foster reported. 3 attack groups, heading for human shipping lanes. Reed stood at his command station, watching the enemy ships depart. They moved with complete confidence, never suspecting they were being observed by the very species they planned to conquer. "Transmitting final data package to Earth Command," Cooper announced, "including proof of today's attack preparations." "Sir," Foster called out suddenly. "Incoming message from Admiral Hayes. Priority 1. Hayes' hologram appeared again. His message was brief. "Operation Shadow Reveal is approved. Proceed to Phase 3. Good hunting." A slight smile crossed Reed's face. "Send word to all departments. Battle stations, silent running. Plot a course to the Galactic Council station." "Time to destination?" Cooper asked, already moving to her tactical station. "We need to arrive just as the Centaurian ambassador begins his speech," Reed said. "I want maximum impact when we reveal ourselves." The Nightshade turned silently in space, its dark matter cloak making it invisible to the galaxy's most advanced sensors. As they accelerated toward their destination, Reed thought about all the humans who had suffered while they gathered evidence. The mockery, the theft, the deaths. All of it was about to be avenged. "Hold on just a little longer," he whispered. "The galaxy is about to learn a very important lesson about underestimating humanity." The Galactic Council chamber was packed with representatives from 50 species. Ambassador Drax of the Centaurians stood at the central podium, his 4 eyes gleaming with false concern as he addressed the assembly. "And so," he said smoothly, "in light of these tragic attacks on human vessels, the Centaurian Empire offers its protection services to our primitive, excuse me, our developing friends from Earth." Ambassador Walker sat quietly in his usual place, appearing small and defeated. Next to him, his datapad showed a countdown timer silently ticking away. "Perhaps," Drax continued, activating a large hologram of Earth's cargo ships, "if humans accepted our superior technology, these unfortunate pirate attacks would cease." Several council members nodded in agreement. The council leader raised his hand. "The council recognizes Ambassador Walker. Do you have a response to this generous offer?" Walker stood slowly. "Actually," he said, checking his datapad one last time, "I believe someone else would like to respond." At that exact moment, alarms began blaring throughout the station. The massive hologram display flickered and changed, showing the space around the council station. In the middle of the Centaurian honor fleet that always accompanied their ambassador, a massive dark ship suddenly appeared from nowhere. "What is that?" Drax demanded, his 4 eyes widening in shock. The HMS Nightshade hung in space, like a predator revealed from shadow. Its dark matter cloak rippled as it deactivated, the effect making the ship seem to emerge from a hole in reality itself. Colonel Reed's voice filled the council chamber. "This is Colonel Thomas Reed of the Earth vessel Nightshade. Ambassador Drax, I believe we have something to share with the council." Before anyone could respond, the chamber's displays came alive with images and recordings. Crystal-clear footage showed Centaurian warships attacking human vessels. Communications logs revealed orders from Centaurian High Command. Supply manifests detailed the theft of human resources. "Impossible," Drax shouted. "Their sensors are primitive. They cannot." "Cannot what, Ambassador?" Walker stood straighter now, his voice firm. "Cannot track your ships. Cannot record your crimes. Cannot build vessels that surpass your own." The council chamber erupted in chaos as more evidence appeared. Maps of the secret base, recordings of Centaurian officers planning their conquest, documentation of an invasion fleet being built with stolen resources. "Lies." Drax tried again, but his voice shook. Where did these recordings come from?" Reed's voice came again, calm and precise. "We've been watching you, Ambassador. For weeks, the Nightshade has followed your ships, sat next to your base, and recorded everything. Your sensors never detected us. Your guards never saw us. Your superior technology was blind to our presence." On the main display, more human ships emerged from cloak around the station. 3, then 5, then 10 vessels appeared, all of the same advanced design as the Nightshade. The council leader stood, his silver skin pale with shock. "Ambassador Drax, explain these accusations." But Drax couldn't speak. He stared at the displays, watching as more evidence of his empire's crimes appeared. His plans for galactic domination, hidden behind a mask of superiority and false help, were being exposed for all to see. "The human race," Walker announced to the stunned council, "is not primitive. We are patient. We are careful. And we do not appreciate being robbed and murdered while being mocked." Reed's final transmission echoed through the chamber. "We've been in position around your fleet for hours, Ambassador Drax. Your weapons are already locked down by our systems. Your engines are under our control. Perhaps it's time to reconsider who is truly primitive in this galaxy." The council chamber fell silent as the implications became clear. The supposedly primitive humans had not only matched Centaurian technology, but had surpassed it so completely that they could render their entire fleet helpless. Walker looked at the stunned faces around him and allowed himself a small smile. "Now then," he said quietly, "shall we discuss real justice for the crews and ships you've stolen from us?" 1 month after the dramatic revelation at the Galactic Council, the galaxy had changed. The council chamber was different now. No more mockery, no more arrogant laughter. When Ambassador Walker entered, other representatives stood respectfully. Their eyes followed him with a mixture of fear and admiration. The Centaurian Empire had fallen far. Ambassador Drax was gone, replaced by a much humbler representative who sat quietly in a plain chair, without the jeweled robes and grand displays of the past. Their military fleet was now closely monitored by ships they couldn't detect, a fact that kept their leaders awake at night. The Council recognizes Earth's report on the recovery operation, the Council leader announced. Walker stood and activated a hologram. It showed human ships, both visible and cloaked, overseeing the return of stolen resources from Centaurian bases. All 47 stolen vessels have been recovered, Walker reported. 2,843 crew members were found alive in Centaurian prison facilities. They are receiving medical care and will return home soon. The chamber was silent. Everyone remembered how they had dismissed human complaints about these very attacks. Furthermore, Walker continued, the Centaurian Empire has agreed to pay compensation to the families of those who died in their attacks. They will also return all stolen resources and technology. Colonel Reed stood at the back of the chamber, watching the proceedings. The HMS Nightshade hung invisible outside the station, along with 15 other stealth vessels. Their presence was now an open secret, a reminder to any species thinking about testing humanity's patience. The Council also recognizes humanity's new position on the Defense Committee. The leader said, "We look forward to learning about your advances in technology." Several representatives leaned forward eagerly. In the past month, Earth had received over 200 requests for technological partnerships. Everyone wanted to know how humans had developed such advanced stealth systems. "Thank you," Walker replied politely. "But Earth will keep its military advancements private for now. We are, however, happy to discuss peaceful trading partnerships." In the station's docking bay, First Officer Cooper supervised the loading of recovered supplies onto human ships. She watched as former prisoners boarded transports heading home, their faces thin but their eyes bright with victory. Lieutenant Foster reports another cache of stolen goods found in the Centaurian Outer Territories. She told Reed as he joined her, "They're still trying to hide things from us." Reed smiled slightly. "Let them try. They still don't understand. We see everything now. They can't hide anymore." On Earth, Admiral Hayes stood in the Neptune shipyards, watching as new stealth vessels took shape. The project that had started in secrecy was now Earth's pride. Humanity had proven itself not through brute force, but through patience, intelligence, and technological innovation. Back in the Council chamber, Walker concluded his report. Earth looks forward to a new era of mutual respect in the galaxy. We have no desire for revenge or conquest. We simply want peace and the assurance that no species will mistake our patience for weakness ever again. The new Centaurian representative spoke up, his voice humble. "We have learned our lesson, Ambassador. The cost of underestimating humanity was significant." Walker nodded. The Centaurian Empire had lost a quarter of its territory as compensation. Their military was now supervised by Council peacekeepers. Their dreams of galactic domination had died the moment the Nightshade decloaked. As the meeting ended, Walker looked out at the stars. Human ships moved openly through space now, respected rather than mocked. But for every visible vessel, 2 or 3 more traveled silently, unseen, protecting human interests throughout the galaxy. "A final note," Walker announced. "Earth has detected several unauthorized attempts to scan our stealth technology. These attempts have been noted. We trust they will not be repeated." The chamber grew very quiet. Several representatives looked down at their datapads, avoiding eye contact. Humanity had kept its greatest secrets while learning everyone else's. They had turned mockery into respect, weakness into strength. And now, in the darkness between the stars, human ships moved like shadows, keeping their silent watch over a galaxy that would never underestimate them again.